So okay,
now, okay. Now, July 7th, I'm supposed to, if I go shopping, spend my money in a black business. I need a list. So where's my list coming from?
So the list can come from if you yourself already know some places. If you're in the group, there's plenty of information on there. And like I said, we're chronicling that right now into a database that's broken down by state and by city from the group. Information that's pulled from the group. So if anybody is in the group, you click on topics and then click on black business, and you'll see several threads. Now some of them are labeled is people in the group say, hey, if you're in such and such city or whatever. There's one that I made specifically that's for black businesses that has hundreds of comments. So, but you can also, there's a forum. One of the volunteers in the group, her name is Vicaria. She made a post. It should be Chronicle on the Black Business, and she made a Google form for you to fill out, and that can go directly to the spreadsheet that we are making from the Black Business thread. So, as far as the resources that we're offering in the group, we can find the businesses there, and like I said, there's Black Wall Street, there's Texas Black Pages, there's a lot of databases which are in, like, people are sharing those resources in the group as well.
All right, so that day, you have a group, right?
What time? Oh yes,
a group that helped you create this.
No.
So just you.
Yes. So this is. You want to know how the group came?
So wait, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, now, so July 7th is really around the corner.
Yes.
It's not far away.
Right.
Especially when you're planning something.
We started out with 60 days.
Okay, so what day will I know?
Right.
And the people I'm only speaking about Killeen.
Right.
Or I'll just say Central Texas.
Right.
Because I can't go to New York and all those. That's a distance for me to go, and that's another question.
Right.
So what day is your deadline date that I'm going to find out where all these businesses are that I can possibly go to on the 7th?
Okay, so June 1st, I will send out the first email to everyone who has went to blackoutday.org, and you click on the Take Action button and filled out the form. So that gives my people their name, number. If number is optional, but I will call. I'm gonna call people but June 1st, name, number, email, if they have a business, and then I have a few questions. Are you a leader, organizer? Are you a data person? Logistics? Are you a foot soldier? And then just a little blurb of why they want to be in it. So for the people who submitted that, June 1st, there's a blast email going out that's going to have all the instructions of how we're going to mobilize in city to city to touch all the black businesses city by city. So it's crazy. There's people literally all over the nation that have emailed. So that once that email goes out, that's going to be the first wave of instruction on how we're going to canvass cities here. I have a private WhatsApp chat with, I don't know how many, I don't know if it's 100, I got to go check. It's a lot of people here in Central Texas. After June 1st, then we're going to take the next step and mobilize to put out what businesses are in what city. That's why that database is putting in. I'm thinking by June 15th, give it a couple weeks, we'll send out that second email, and in that email we'll have whatever information we have at that time. We'll have that database by June 15th.
Okay, now, since there are different ways of getting out information.
Right.
Because you can't just say we're going to do social media because...
No.
Wait.
But all this I'm coming out of... all this is coming out of my pocket. That's what I'm saying. Everybody...
But it has to.
It has to, right. But that's what I'm saying. Everything is... I'm just being obedient. You know what I mean? Everyone's asking all these questions. No one's offering resources. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but when you first do something...
Right.
You eat it the first year.
Too easy.
But what other form... What I'm asking you is what other forms of media are you going to use to get this information out? Mm-hmm. Because I'll say me.
Right.
I'm on social media, but not all day.
Correct.
So you can miss something.
Right.
I only read the newspaper 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. The rest of the day suck. I don't need to read it. Right. Because I kind of know when you kind of know about the paper of when something interesting is going to be. Mm-hmm. So I know what days are by the paper, and I know what days just don't even cross your mind. Mm-hmm. And so, but we have different forms of outlets.
Right.
So are you going to use all of them, and which ones are you going to use?
I mean, I come from working at the newspaper. I actually was working in the digital services department. I was managing 22 websites, posting to all their social medias multiple times a week. Plus, I was updating the Killeen Daily Herald website itself on the digital side. I was making the posts and I was posting the ads and all that directly. So I understand the inner workings, the cost, everything. You know what I mean?
But what forms are you using? Are you going to use?
So what I say that to say, not sure really how effective putting a print ad is, knowing the cost, even though it's going to go out to 40,000 homes or what have you. You know, the audience, you know what I mean? Knowing the audience. So, hey, I could use print. We're on the radio right now. I have another radio interview next weekend. It's like more of a podcast, but they have a good following. I'm open to any means. So I don't have specifics. Right now, my focus, though, is the Facebook group, and because there's 50,000 people, and they're all over the nation. So, and it's growing. I mean, I don't even know how many. I haven't checked it. It was 50,000 when I went to sleep. So who knows how many's in there now? But
so how many urban stations do we have in Texas? Or do you know?
The only ones I know about, because honestly, I don't really listen. I don't listen to mainstream hip hop. The radio stations I listen to are like I listen to the Symphony Hall classical station on Sirius XM. I listen to the Joint, that's reggae.
But I'm still asking about the urban.
You got 106.3. You got 93.
No, just do you know them all? Is what I'm asking you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know 106.3. I know 93.3 in Austin. I know that's about all. I think 96.7.
So who's
years since I listened to the radio.
So are you using the radio though?
I don't need. That's what I'm saying. This is new.
But no, I'm asking you. Do you or will you?
I'm using it now. We here now, right?
Yeah, this is my show though.
Right.
We have other shows.
So what I'm saying is, why right now the word's getting out. I'm talking about like this. This is the internet age.
Yes, it is.
This is the internet age to get. Radio is one way, but right now the digital. There's no way. Like I could reach 50,000 people outside of I don't even have barely 1,000 people on my friends list.
But you know what? I'll say that. One, yes, you do. But when you do an event,
right,
you need to remember everybody because on this show, on the radio, I'm gonna ask you how do people contact you, right?
Right.
I don't want you to just give me your Facebook page because guess what?
Right.
I know active people in the community that don't use Facebook.
Right.
I know active people in the community they don't read the paper, they don't do Facebook. They don't do it. But if I put it on,
I would argue to say if they don't do it and they're doing their work is although their work is meaningful and it's impactful where they're at. If they're wanting it to be known, it's.
But what I'm saying is this. Now I'm not saying they have a business, but they're active in the community.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if you need to cover everybody,
right?
Because you can't just say, well, "This is my group." This is my age group, and this is how we do it.
This is how we cover everybody. Listen,
so
if you are a part of the movement,
right?
If you plugged into it either just because you heard about it online, on Instagram, on Facebook, if you're in the private group, if you're hearing it right now, that's how you become the boots on the ground.
So, but what I'm asking, what I'm saying to you is, are you going to make sure that every piece of media is known, every way that people receive information? Like I said. You have people who don't do this. So when I ask people how you reach you would tell me your Facebook page for Facebook people. You're going to give me your email because some people are email people. So you're going to give me those two. Then I'm going to ask you the other question. You have a phone number because you got to remember all those people.
I have a website. I have a phone number.
That's what I mean.
Email. I have a Facebook. I have Instagram. I got Snapchat. I got LinkedIn.
No, but that's what I'm asking you. If we forget. Sometimes people get to do something and they forget that they'll say, well, this is 2020. Why I got to do this? Because you have people that are still comfortably there.
All the information. My website, my personal website is calvinmartyr.com. Like if you want to just contact me directly, personally, if you submit the contact form on there, it goes straight to my personal email. My business cell phone, I'll give it out because it doesn't. Everybody, I've been in sales industry, like my business cell phone. If you want to, now, just so you know, when it pops up on my phone, it says business. So if you're not calling me about business, I'm going to end the call. 512-593-2357. You can call or text that number. That's my business cell phone. So that, I'm reachable. My you don't need my personal email because you can submit the form at calvinmartyr.com. It'll come to my email. I'll get it. Or if you go to blackoutday.org, that form you submit is specifically going into a list for people that are going to get an email for Blackout Day. So you can reach me on Instagram at @TheCalvinMartyr, Facebook at @TheCalvinMartyr, Snapchat at @TheCalvinMartyr, LinkedIn. I think you can find me on there at Calvin Martyr as well. I mean, I don't know what. Well, you can find me on you know. I mean, I'm reachable, you know. But like you said, I would like to. I'm in a space where I heard one of my OGs years ago. You know, I say OG, like one of the elders. You know, I come from doing Christian hip hop for like the last 12 years since my freshman year in college in 2007. So, you know, there's a lot of people in my life. I have a lot of wisdom, you know, in my ear nonstop. You know, they may not even post online. They'll hit me straight on the phone like, yo, what you know, they'll rebuke me. They'll, you know what I'm saying? We might debate, but trust and believe there's many counselors and advisors. Even everybody, just so y'all know, everybody, even in the group that's a moderator, except for like 2 or 3 of them, most of them have known me over 10 years each individually. You know, so even the people that I'm bringing alongside with the effort is people that know me. But I would like to try to use all the different media outlets. But to me, that was shotgun blast my focus. So if I'm trying to focus on being on the group online, and then also trying to get an ad in the paper, and also trying to, like, I'm working on a medium. Like, just so you know, I'll let you know, you get the exclusive. There will be the Blackout podcast. Okay, that's
okay.
Coming. I have a podcast called the Salt Society Podcast. It was getting a lot of traction. Like, that's something I'm naturally good at, just media in general. So with all this information, all this everything, and some of the resources that are in motion for the movement, that's going to be one way where information is going to be strategically and professionally put out for the movement. I mean, so it's going to be like almost like, you know what I'm saying, imagine seeing CNN, you know what I mean, but in our own way, you know what I mean. So it's going to be professionally done. I'm already linked up with a broadcast service that's reaching, you know, over 50 nations. I'm going to literally have I'm going to do a daily podcast, so it's going to be Monday through Friday. That's going to be launching in actually next week. I'll be doing a photo shoot and press stuff, but that'll probably launch around August. So I got a lot of things in motion, but I'm just trying to stay focused, because if I try to cover all the different bases, I can't do it. But I will say, anybody is invited if they want to put an ad in the paper about Blackout Day. That's the whole point. That's the power of this movement. If people that are plugged in take personal ownership. Now, I'm glad you mentioned something earlier, but don't try to make it your own.
See, that's what you have right now. Because like I said, I follow your posts. I follow it, okay. and I follow other people who hashtagged it.
Right.
And what's going on with your post is this. People have hashtagged it,
right,
but they got their own wings.
Yeah.
So they have their own wings and they're flying.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you leave the dreamer, then it becomes a disaster. But guess who gets the fault? The dreamer gets it, because you need to define how this is. Is this going to just be? Is the 7th going to be a day to shop?
Right.
Or is the 7th going to be what I've heard, the launch of a magazine? The launch of its own newspaper, the launch of its own radio station.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas.
So you need to know, but what happens is you need to bring people back to a focal point.
Okay.
Because if you do not, those wings will soar.
Let's do it right now.
So come on, give us the focus point.
Here's the focus point. Please understand that July the 7th, 2020 is just the beginning. It's literally the first event of many events. There are going to be more blackouts. There are going to be blackout days. There's going to be blackout weeks, months, years even. And the end goal is that we eventually, blackout is a way of life. Nobody is going to give us reparations. Nobody is going to help us as a people come out of the place where we're only controlling half of 1% of all the wealth. That's how it was when we got out of slavery, and it's still the same. This system is not built for us. We weren't ever intended to be anything but property in this system. So everybody needs to stay focused on organizing for this day. And in the interim, while we're organizing for this day, we all collectively share information with each other about where we can do business with each other. That is the first step, and that's really the only focus. Any other type of publication, magazine, newspaper, or any other type of offshoot idea, it has not come from me. Many people have submitted certain ideas, and I haven't necessarily been, stringently opposed, because there's a passage where Jesus, the disciples come to him, they're like, Jesus, these people they're casting out devils in your name, but they ain't, they didn't come to you, like they ain't study with us.
Right. They just taking off.
Yeah. And you know what he said? He was like, hey man, if they're not against us, they're for us. and he even dropped another nugget. He said, there are people who are not in this fold that are mine. And that I'm like, I still to this day, I've read that, I've tried to figure out what was he like, but the way it hit me was, in the modern day context, is you might see somebody who's might be what's called in the secular world doing rapping or doing this, or they're in different industries, and they might not be explicitly representing Christ, in the way you think so. But he said, if they're not against us, they're for us. So although I know that there's no way for me to police up all the immature aspirations that may spring up to try to take on the Black Out Day banner in their own way. I mean, if they're still, hopefully, if they're communicating the central message of economic solidarity, because that's the thing, talking about the focus. The main focus of this group is we are saying, I don't care what your belief system is. I grew up in Kojic. I grew up in Church of God in Christ. My father is a bishop right now. My godfather is a bishop. My uncle is a pastor, but really been a bishop because he pastored multiple churches for years. It's in my blood, it's in my DNA, but also I'm a little bit different, you know what I mean? I want to shout out my grandpa. He'll be 93 years old in August. He is a Montford Point Marine, all right? One of the first black Marines ever to serve, Congressional Gold Medal recipient, North Carolina, Wilmington, But anyway, I say that to say it's in my blood,
right.
Like as far as I feel like I've inherited the spirit of all of our ancestors,
so,
Marcus, Malcolm, all of them.
So are you, okay, are you an organization?
Right.
Wait. Okay, are you an organization?
Okay.
Are you a company? Are you a nonprofit? Are you a 501c3 nonprofit?
Okay.
Exactly what are you?
Okay, good. I am one man who was obedient to a vision that I had late on May 7th around 11:45, 11:50. And at 1:25 in the morning on May 8th, I created this group. A little bit after that, I made a video talking about Blackout Day. And all I can tell you is it was an unction from the Spirit. Now, am I someone who's learned about the woes and oppression and everything and systemic racism of our people? Yes, it's something that I've almost exclusively been studying out, along with who are we, identity, for the past 3 years. So it's a culmination of the things that I've been studying, and then after seeing Ahmad, it just something hit me so strong, So I'm just an individual. I'm not a group. I do have a nonprofit. I have a nonprofit that I established with my best friend last year called God Body International. With that is, we've already sought legal counsel. We're keeping that separate. Like, obviously, with my nonprofit, we're working on grant funding right now, and I'll be able to utilize my nonprofit to do things that benefit what the Blackout Day movement represents, but that's completely separate. So I have a nonprofit. Blackout Day itself is not an organization. It's not a nonprofit. It's literally just a movement of the people that started off as a vision. However, there is a plan and a vision to formulate this into more. So I know people be asking a lot of questions about like the organizational structure and who is this. Yeah, I got to remember this group literally was created 2 weeks ago. There was no like prior planning of a rollout of this or anything, and I think that's what is baffling, because a lot of people have their own groups and different things, and they built them for years and don't have 50,000, and they planned the rollout and how they were going to promote it and how they were going to get people. I promise you, Phyllis, I wish that I could write a book right now that how to grow a private group on Facebook, in 2 weeks. I wish that I can't take credit. It's the Most High is stirring up the spirit of this thing.
But the reason people want to know is not so much they want to know for a negative aspect.
Right.
Most people understand. Okay, me.
Right.
I'm the state education chair for Texas State NAACP.
Mm-hmm.
As an organization. I mean, BAM as an organization.
That's an organization, yeah.
I have a radio show on KISS. It's a company.
It's a company, yep.
And the company is Town Square Media.
Right.
So people want to know that you're not just here today, over there tomorrow, and down the street all around. People need to know the stability of what you're doing.
Right.
People want to know, is he a company? Is he a group? Is he this? Is he a fly by night? Because what you got to remember is, even though what you're saying is good, you got to think about how many times we've heard that before. So people are going to ask you questions because you're going to have to correct, not what somebody else did. You don't have to correct that. But you're going to have to correct who you exactly are to make sure that people go, okay, listen, I need to be able to say, well, no, he's not a company. He's an individual person right now who's building. Somebody
Say
needs...
it again. Say it again. Say it again for the people.
They heard
he's
it.
An individual person.
But people need to know that. But but if you don't say that,
right.
and if you allow someone else to define that,
right.
See, when you define what you're doing, then that stops everybody else from defining you for you.
Good. That's my response from now on. When they say, "What are you?" I'm an individual person that's building. That's it. And it's coming together.
But the point is, everybody, but those are things you need to make straight first. Okay. Because when you make things straight to everybody first, that doesn't allow that person over there to say, oh, yeah, and we're doing this.
So, when you say that, so you're saying with everything I've posted, it makes people think like I'm already like an organization? Is that?
Yes, yes, because as I would know,
right.
Okay, and from what I do, and not what I've done, what I do now, is I expect a couple of things. I expect to see what your organization is. I need to see it.
Right.
I need to see why you exist. I need to know where you're going to go. And I need to know if I can be in there. Because you could completely say what you're saying, and I can say, I read this, I don't belong there. And not belong, and it's not a negative. It isn't a negative because I don't belong there, but that might be where I shouldn't be. And I'll give you an example.
Right.
Right now we have a lot of black businesses, and we also know during this pandemic some of our black businesses are failing. So the question became to support your black business. All right, well, I'm the national non-eat out person. I am. That's me. I am the non-national eat out person. You asked me to eat
at the house regardless.
You asked me to eat out, and it becomes it's a question for me.
Right.
But so I knew going to all the places to support all the restaurants and whatever, I knew that I'm not going to go and support them all because that's not my place. That's not me. But every SBA workshop, I made sure every black business knew about every SBA workshop. I let them know about every Zoom meeting. I think I had some of them on Zoom meetings every day because I knew that I'm good at that.
Right.
I can find every Zoom meeting that you need. So my part of supporting the black businesses were the Zoom meetings, everything, to break it down.
We're going to sign that to you, Miss Phillips. Hey, we plugging you in.
Because I knew that I can get it. See, I knew I could do that. Yep. But I knew, so when I look at all that had to be done, I didn't check off. No. But I can do this right here. So everybody needs to know where they can fit in with you. Because you could, without realizing, without thinking, leave a group of people out that you actually didn't need. Like I said, one girl posted on Facebook, "What are you doing for black businesses?" I listed what I've been doing. Zoom meetings. I've been Zooming people to death. I had somebody ask me, "Listen, is there another Zoom meeting? I might have a." I had one guy. He has a restaurant, and he was listening to the Zoom and getting his restaurant together. But okay, that's what I wanted. And then I had people tag other people in. But you got to let me know where I fit in.
Right.
So when you write up all the criteria and all the notes and what you're going to do, you've got to remember that somebody's going to be looking at what you wrote, and it's important to see where they fit in at.
Well, and that's, I'm glad you said that, because there are so many people, I try to make sure I'm posting content that represents the spirit of the movement. Like when I post an interview of Dr. Claude Anderson, or if I post a clip of Martin Luther King saying, "Man, my dream is turned to a nightmare. I fear that I've led people into a burning house."
Yes.
When I post the clips of him saying, "When we come to Washington, we come in to get our check." When I post interviews of Malcolm X talking about certain things, I'm trying to share the information that's representing the spirit of the movement. This is not like a just a gossip thing, or we're not just rallying. This is not a fly by night. Like, I am 100% committed. This is something that even was prophesied to me months and months ago, that something was about to happen in this way that was going to shake my life up to the point where I would leave my job because it would consume my life so much. And this actually has. There's nothing. This is all I think besides my family and the Most High, obviously, but this is all I think about all day, every day. I go to sleep, I'll get up 3 hours, I'm up in 2-3 hours, and I'm wide awake because this is something that has invigorated me. So I'm committed to it 100%. On June 1st, when I send out the email, that's what the type of information is going to be in there. It's going to be what's going on, any promo materials that have been created already, and what we need, right? So meaning I need XYZ, I need blah, 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 all of that stuff. Here's what we do have, as far as here's what we need, and then here's how we're going to mobilize. All of that will be in that email blast June 1st, because it's just too much to try to. I've done as much as I can as far as in the units. So if you are in the group, because I know how many people have completed the units. I know, because I can see we have 50-something thousand people. We don't have 50-something thousand completions of the units. So it's kind of hard, because obviously everyone is constantly asking questions. I see it every day. What is July 7th? What is, what's going on? What's happening? And part of that is because everyone's sharing their posts and their own thing, and I tried to limit the posts only to admins and moderators, but then people didn't enjoy the group that much. So I'm like, okay, we just gotta let it rock, and I'm gonna just that's what made me realize that, like, okay, this is a full time. I literally had somebody asked, Mr. Jones asked, he was like, how old is he? He was like, all these betting questions. Yes. So I come from, before doing this, I come from working in the car sales industry. So I was one of the top salesmen at the Chevrolet dealership here in Killeen. And so I look at it as I was able to put 10 to 12 hours into that every day. I'm going to put 10 to 12 hours into this every day. And from there, what the Most High does with it, He does. So again, see, we got limited time. I don't know if we got to do this again. If you'll be back, go to blackoutday.org and click the Take Action button. And when you do that, there'll be a form you send that you'll submit, and then we'll send the email out on June 1st. And going forward, you'll always receive blast emails with detailed instructions about where we're at, where we're going, and what we need. That is not being put out in the group in that format, because that's not more serious commitment in the group. I mean, not everybody's following the instructions. So for the people that actually... So how can they...
What we need to know is how can everybody reach you?
How can everybody reach me?
Yes.
Again, talking about no matter what...
Just reach you,
yeah. So
yes.
You can reach me at the Calvin Martyr on Instagram. You can reach me on Facebook. I have a personal page and a regular page you can like or whatever under at the Calvin Martyr. You can call or text. Well, I say just text, but my business cell phone is 512-593-2357. You can reach me there. I mean, or you can go to calvinmartyr.com and you can fill out the contact form there, and that'll send me an email to my personal email.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on Kids Community Connection this morning.
I hope I answered all your questions. I know you got more questions.
And don't worry, you'll be back before then.
You'll
be back before then. Because, yes, we have more questions, and you have more to talk about and explain.
Right.
But next time we talk again, you'll have more nailed down.
We'll have more organization
than you do now. You'll have it nailed down more, because the last thing you want to do is confuse people.
Right. But to have no confusion, if you don't know nothing else, just know July 7th, 2020, we are organizing this protest, and it's just the beginning. I promise you, when we get to strategically boycotting certain weeks, certain days that are key to this economy, and at the same time, because imagine, Ms. Phyllis, even on July 7th, imagine if instead of, we don't spend money, right? Say we all strategically put $10 into a blackout community fund.
We can do that.
You know what I'm saying? We can do that. 50,000 people, $10 is how much?
We can do that.
That's $5 million. That is like.
But first we gotta finish.
Well, we gotta finish the day. But what I'm saying that those are the type of things we can make the blackout days like offering days. And I'm not saying, that's why I say I don't know what's the right way, because I'm not saying you just a GoFundMe. The reason why I like that is because it's public. You can see, but I don't want to use GoFundMe. I want to use something that's a professional way, and it's something where if we all collect our bread together, I don't know if it needs to go into a trust fund so nobody can touch it, and then we use that to leverage banks to give us certain financing. However, we got to do it so that it benefits the whole. I know there's been leaders in the past that have caused people to distrust, but that's not me. But anyway, I'm done.
Okay. And like I said, I want to thank you for coming on the show and talking more about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about more as it progresses, because it's coming fast.
It's coming fast.
Right. And I want to thank everybody again for listening to Kids Community Connections. And I want you to always remember, you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. We'll talk to you next Sunday.